All right, welcome to 11 months with Silver the Mustang. First of all, I want to apologize for having been so long since we made the last video. It's been over 3 months. But I have a good excuse, which is we moved here to Northeast Oklahoma from the beautiful vistas of Monument Valley here to the beautiful green of Northeast Oklahoma. And I've spent the summer, the last 90 days, building this horse facility, mostly by myself. Built this arena, built that round pen you see behind me, about 1,000 feet of board fences and so forth. So I've been really busy, and Silver and my other horses have been eating a lot of grass. And you can see he's gained a little weight, tubbed out just a little bit. So the desert horse came here to all this knee-high grass, and he seemed to be pretty happy about the deal. So in the last 90 days, he's probably had, I'll say 20, 25 rides. And a lot of those were pretty short because I had to squeeze them in between carpentry work. But he hasn't lost anything. In fact, I think mentally he's doing a lot better. So I'm going to show you a few things that I'm working on here with him. And it's been almost exactly 11 months since we picked him up. And you can see I'm using a German martingale. And if you're not familiar with it, what it does, and I'll pick up on him when I come by the camera here. When you pick up on it, it puts a little downward pressure before your reins connect. So it just helps the horse understand that you want his nose to come down. And I don't use it on every horse, but if I have a horse that's having trouble understanding, I want that nose to come down, then I'll use it. And it's helping him. This is 5 or 6 times, I think, I've ridden him with it. And then the reins will engage once he gets his head down, then the rein will engage. So he's doing pretty well with that. I've been riding him in the round pen and working now on transitions from picking up the correct lead. I've been loping him quite a bit. And then I've also been working on the beginnings of lead changes. So I'll show you that. First of all, if you want a horse to pick up the correct lead, you have to have a consistent cue that the horse can understand. And the standard cue, at least the one I'm aware of, to get a horse to pick up a lead is to push from the opposite side with your leg back in the back position. So if I want him to pick up his left lead, I'm going to take my right leg, put it around here where you can see it. I'm going to take my right leg, move it slightly back, and push his hip over like that. And that, in addition to getting him to pick up his shoulder, will get him to take that left lead, and then you do the opposite for the other side. So from the first moment I rode this horse, when I cued him into a lope, I gave him the cue. He didn't know what it meant, and he's just now starting to understand what the cue means. But eventually he'll figure it out. So hundreds of times I've put my leg back there, pushed, and asked him for that left lead. And sometimes I got it, sometimes I didn't. All right. Now, you need to be able to what they call untrack your horse. And what I mean by that, and I've only done this a couple of times with him, so I'm going to come in here and ride right towards you. I'm going to push with that right foot, and his hip should do that right there. That's pretty good. This is only maybe the 2nd or 3rd day I've worked on it. So I'm going to come around and do it the other way. So until you can untrack his hindquarters both directions pretty easily, so I'm going to untrack him to the right, to my right there. That wasn't as good, but he did it. Okay, so you can see he's a little stiff, and old Silver here's always been a little stiff, but he is getting better. He's starting to get softer. All right, and I haven't warmed him up, so let me just trot him around here. And then I'm going to put him into a lope and show you how I work on what are called simple lead changes. Okay. And his default is his left-hand lead. He'll pick that up easily. Getting him into the right lead, I have to work a little bit. And usually to get him into the right lead, I have to kind of try to pick up on him and even bend his head the wrong way. At this stage, he'll get better. He is getting better. Okay. So I'm going to come here and put him in his left lead, which will be easy to do. Now you can see He's having a little trouble getting into it, but at this stage, I'm not going to make a big deal about that. Okay? I'm not going to make a big deal about him not going into that lead right away. Eventually I will. You know, as he gets to where he understands the concept better, then I will insist when I give him that leg that he go right into the lead. But today, I'm not going to do that. All right, so then what I'm going to come across, drop to a trot, and then try to pick up the right-hand lead. And we did. And I had to kind of bend his neck out the other way to do that. Now I'll come across here, drop to a trot, and pick up the left lead. And he did. Pretty good. And you know what? That little puppy there is pretty annoying, but that's actually good for this horse. I purposely left him out. And then who? Okay. And that wasn't a very good stop, but he basically stopped off my voice there. So hopefully you can see a lot of improvement from the last video. And if you haven't watched this series, I hope you will. Subscribe to my channel here and scroll down. We probably have 25 videos of him from day one, 11 months ago. And I'll just keep working on those. I'll do the simple lead changes until I feel like I've got this part pretty good, where I can move his hip over, untrack him pretty good like that. When I get that pretty good, and when I can do that and be able to bend his head at a lope, which he's really having trouble with that, where, well, I'll just show you. So if I put him into a lope here, come on, there, okay. So if I put him into a lope, I need to be able to bend his head really both ways, but especially into the bend. Now, that's actually pretty good. That's a lot better than it was a couple days ago, where he'd bend his head into the he dropped out of the lope. There we go. Because he doesn't like to lope with his head bent, but he needs to. Okay, good. There we go. So I get a couple strides and I'll let him have it back. Ask him for it again, let him have it back. Okay. Ooh. But you also need to be able to bend his head to the outside of the lope while he's loping. So once you get that, and I'll probably show you this on a future video. Once you get that pretty good, then you start working on counter canter, where I'll bring him around on the left lead and lope him to the right and have him stay on the left lead. Then I'll work on that for a week or so. And eventually you put all this together and you get a flying lead change. At least in theory, that's the way it works. Some horses pick up on it pretty quick. Others, like my old paint horse Runner, it took him a long time to figure it out. So it just kind of depends on the horse. A couple of things coming up here for Silver. The reason I built this horse facility is I have opened a horseback riding academy where I'm just teaching mostly beginning riders, but all different levels of riders, and we just now started in the last week or so. So Silver's going to be one of my lesson horses. He's calm as a cucumber, and so I don't think we're going to have any problem with him letting beginning riders flop around on him and lay on him and all that kind of stuff. I think he's going to do just fine with that. The other thing is I've entered him into a cowboy race coming up in about 2 weeks, I think. And he'll be in the green horse class, which is 3 and 4 year olds. And we'll just see how he handles some obstacles and some different things like that. So that'll probably be the next video. I'll show you a video of him at the cowboy race and we'll see how he does. So thanks for coming along.